On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we're gonna do a bunch more work on my Jag S-Type, and let's see if we can get this thing running again. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today, like I said, we are jumping back under the hood of my 2003 Jag S-Type. In the last video, of course, we got everything apart. We went and cleaned up these valve covers. They are looking much better, although at the same time they look worse because the paint came off. We're gonna put these all back on with all new gaskets, and this thing hopefully runs again today. And then after that, we're gonna take it out for a drive and we'll see if we've got it sorted. Hopefully that fixes it stumbling every once in a while at idle. I'm very confident that it will. Okay, so the spark plug well seals on this engine are actually pretty interesting. They're just a piece of rubber that drops in, but you really have to press it into place here. It's got some ridges that hold it back into the casting, and it takes quite a bit of time to do that. Now, this gasket set's quite a bit different from the factory one. I'm hoping everything works out here, but let's find out together right now. So, somewhere here, we should have a nice round part of the valve cover gasket, and it should let us kind of start putting this thing where it belongs. So these Fel-Pro gaskets definitely install a little different than the factory ones. It has two grommets. It looks like one for each side of the bolts when you put those back in, and it's going right back into place, so it does look like it is the correct gasket. I was a little worried about not having the right one there. It's new gasket day. Anyway, we've got what are these? The MS96494s. These are the upper intake gaskets. We're not going to go ahead and pull the lower because, first of all, basically anything you do other than upper and valve cover, you got to pull all the coolant out of this thing and disconnect tons and tons of lines. So right now, let's just go ahead and drop these in. If there was an intake leak causing that slight stumble, we should have that fixed now. And as you can see, everything's been wiped down. I did try to get all the carbon out of there. I took a rag, covered in brake clean, cleaned all this out, vacuumed all the ports, wiped down all the mating surfaces, and now I'm ready to break out the black RTV and reseal the 6 spots on every valve cover that need RTV. Then we're ready to reinstall our valve covers and keep right on chugging. We've got a fresh new PCV for this valve cover too, so we'll go ahead and give it a twist. Oh wow, these things have a locking tab and then they kind of unscrew themselves on the 3 liter. There's a lot of gunk in here, but it looks bad. I just don't know if it was actually completely failed. Let's give it a blow test. It doesn't quite seal. This one seals really well, as you would expect. The brand new one, if I can pick up the brand new one, seals much better. Get a nice satisfying click. Oh, no click. It just locks into position and you're done. So we are ready to install this valve cover. Lots of stuff has to move out of the way for these valve covers to go on. All these wiring harness holders, and I think we're getting there. I put one in to go ahead and start aligning. There we go. Drops right into place. Okay, the driver valve cover is on. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of wrap this up as I'm putting everything together here. So we'll throw the coils on too, and we've got obviously our nice fresh coils, fresh plugs, everything should work after this. So you just kind of have to feel around until you find the spark plug, push the coil in, and then we'll throw the bolts in there. This is I mean, everyone's done this. It's a quick, easy process. I'm just excited that the coils and the plugs are probably the real culprit here for why this thing was running rough. Finally ready to drop on the next valve cover. Everything is just about ready. This thing, as you guys know, my opinion changed from this is the best car to work on to it's aight, because first, 6 RTV spots, come on, and second, the wiring harnesses are always in the way of everything on this car. Who designed this thing? So, all right, that's about where everything sits. But the harnesses mount onto the valve cover after it goes on. So that's why it kind of becomes a bit of a mess. We got it on there. Don't move, don't move. Let's get a couple bolts in here. Well, after a lot of cleaning and putting things back together, we are down to the last moments here All that's left now is putting that upper intake back on. Of course, the valve cover gaskets are new, and I even gave it some time for the RTB to set up a bit. All the coils and plugs are in, everything's hooked back up. So we just have to bolt on the intake and hook up a ton of connections to the back of that thing. So before we put the bolts in, I gotta sneak back here. As you guys know, there's a whole bunch of connectors on the back of this that take quite a bit of time to get them all reconnected. So we're gonna slide this thing just forward of where it's home and start hooking things up, and hopefully this doesn't take too terribly long. So the fun one here is the fully blind brake booster. And I think we got the brake booster hooked up here. And of course there's another tiny little vacuum line. Very hard to see, but it hooks up kind of underneath the whole intake here. Hook the map sensor up. There it is. With everything hooked back up on the back of the intake, we can actually set this thing in place now. So that's a little bit of a dance. You gotta move to the music because a whole lot of stuff has to fall into place for this to work. So that's roughly where it goes, right about there. And there's, of course, the 3 in the back that stabilize it and mount to the intake. Then there's one that mounts on the valve cover and has a screw that sticks off into the side to support the back of this. And then of course all the actual intake bolts there, and they're all different lengths. Shout out to Ford for this insanity here. We'll just play around until we figure out what goes where and keep right on going. If you're doing this yourself, the super long bolts go towards the driver's side of the car. There's 3 that go there, and you'll need to do a little wiggling until everything kind of lines up. Ooh, no, that one sure isn't. Okay, 2 of the very long bolts go there, and then it looks like you switch to 1 medium here in the front. Okay, that one started and has just enough stick out. And I honestly kind of forgot where this one goes. Oh, this one goes on the back. I think the final long bolt is this one here, right about the middle of the runner. And you'll want a medium length here in the front as well. And that's pretty much it. We're just about there. Just have a couple short ones left for the supports. The 2 very short tins are just used to support the intake. One goes here, one goes in the back. And the one with the stud on it, that's actually an 8, goes in the back of the intake right here on that support that wraps around the fuel rail. And that is all of the bolts. So then of course, torque the intake down, start in the middle, don't start with those supports or you'll never get it right, it'll leak. So we're gonna start by, over here, we'll do like an X pattern and then do the outers and then tighten down all the supports. So obviously make sure the gasket side is down before the rest of it goes on. That's really it. This is the way to do it if you don't want to have to go look up a guide or anything else. I just figured it out, and I didn't look at it when I took it apart, assuming that it'd probably have the same length screws, but it did not. And we are down to what I think is the last hose clamp here as we finish up this huge tune-up here. So that's that. We're ready to refill the coolant again because we leaked quite a bit of it here at the throttle body now. So luckily I've still got a bottle of that left, and oh, we can put on the engine dress up piece and the air intake. Here we go. Do the easy stuff. Ah, yeah. That is what I'm talking about with a new PCV and all this new stuff. Hopefully this thing runs better than ever. Shout out to Jag with alignment marks on everything. And now for our engine cover, which I think this is the last time I have to take everything back apart for a bit. This back Phillips, you have to have a stubby to actually get it in and out, but they're quarter turns it seems like. So I'm just gonna go ahead and try to give it a quarter turn by hand. Yeah, it locked in. Calling that good. The engine is pretty once more. Bluetooth funnel action. Finished the job properly as you guys would expect. We'll put this just over max. That way it can suck in a little bit of extra coolant. Jump in here, look at that. There's some stairs, and the bottom stair is min and the top stair is max. So it shows you exactly where the coolant is. It's super easy to see too, so I can actually give it a hair more. Let's find out if all of our hard work paid off. We've got our switchblade key here, and I really should buy a key housing too. You can't really tell what's what, or at least I could write lock and unlock. I think that's how this works. Anyway, first start, super cold start. Hopefully it starts right up and idles better than ever. Pump prime. Oh, the battery's dead. Completely dead. Does it have front jump posts? Jaguar! You didn't leave me anywhere to jump this thing, did you? So I have to open the trunk. At least it opened. There probably is a jump post, but I don't see it anywhere. Ah, at least I can get to the battery. Okay, let's go get out my new toy. At least I've got a new toy. This thing barely wanted to start when I got it out of the cold a few days ago, and that's kind of what I get for not driving it for 2 weeks. That just means I get to use my new toy. I'm super excited to finally have one of these. After years and years, I had like a baby one that was an off-brand, but I finally went all the way in and bought the real one. This one's like $300 to $400, something like that. It's the biggest one there is, other than the 42 or the 24 volt and 48 volt one. I think there's one that can start airplanes, but this is basically the biggest one there is, 4250 amp. And I hooked it up to my Goldwing because it was dead for, you know, it's been sitting forever. And it started that thing faster than I've ever heard it start in my life. So let's see if we can repeat that feat in here. So it looks like there's the click. We're connected. Let's try it out. It runs better than ever. Boot open. Apply park brake. The parking brake's on. Oh, I think it's upset. Parking brake off, parking brake on. Apparently the parking brake just quit working even though it was applied a minute ago. This should be brake on. Okay, parking brake's on. It works again. She's back. And it runs so smoothly. I think it runs better than ever. Let's go drive this thing. Right out of the gate, this thing runs better than it ever has before. Listen to the growl from the V6. All right, we're gonna turn out here onto the highway and we can finally get on it just a little bit. The second it started, I was like, yep, no more random little blurbles from it, you know. Okay, second gear, we'll get a bit of a roll. What are we, 30 roll? Woo, all right, that was way past the speed limit already. I was already almost 10 over. Oh, wow, this thing, and it seems like it's going so slow, like the way you guys saw it on video there. I'm sure it looked pretty lame. Honestly, it was like 75 mile an hour, just second, third gear shift. That's it. It feels great. All right, now it's the most dangerous car on the road. So if we try to steer here in my lane, I can move the steering wheel that much before it actually starts moving, and then the front end hunts a lot. It does like a roll sideways, like a fighter jet roll. And if you try to do this any faster than say 60 mile an hour, maybe like 80 mile an hour, which is most of the highways around here, it snaps over into the other lane very, very dangerously. In fact, I'll see if I can show you guys real quick. Ooh, there's full throttle. This car is too fast. Oh yeah, it fully snapped between the lanes. And you have no control over the front end. Like, it does, it jerks over and then corrects back. Obviously, we already know that basically the entire front end, all the bushings are shot, tie rod ends, those are all shot. So in the next episode, we're gonna take this from one of the most dangerous cars to drive to what's hopefully a really good driver. I've never driven one that would be, say, excellent shape like this one will be. So all we can do is start rebuilding everything else with all the parts in the back. We've got engine mounts, transmission mounts, all kinds of suspension back there. We're just gonna go ahead and put all of that in, hopefully tomorrow. Second gear, not a thing. There it goes. I forgot that it's got that dog leg reverse. And from there, maybe, here, I gotta show you guys this. This is second gear at a few RPM. That feels so much more powerful than it ever did before. Honestly, I think the car really just wanted a tune-up. Let's get all these suspension parts in here and make this car handle as well as it accelerates now. Maybe we can use this as a drift car after the wheels turn in the same direction I tell them to. No. You'll never beat me. It's about family. Well, hopefully it starts tomorrow. I think I drove it enough for the battery to be charged. If not, I guess we got the no-go, but it drives so much better. As you guys saw, it sounds great. It does not hesitate or stumble at all, and it's got plenty of power, I gotta say. So smooth for the way it delivers it. I just like the way it delivers its power. That's the one thing I like about this car. Next, suspension, and this should be a driver again. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjaguar.com for cool shirts just like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. Man, we changed everything but the lower intake gaskets. Hopefully those never fail, but it sure drives great today. So I know that they're good now, and I sure wish we could fix the cat problem. I'm not putting thousands of dollars in cats on this car. It costs more in the car to fix the cats. But other than that, we're close. It took a lot of parts and a lot of money to get here, I'll tell you that.